Good evening. Welcome to the Insiders Emergency Room Report. Stop press. Gabrielle Medina has officially pulled out of Pipeline and the beginning of the 2022 World Surfing Tour. What are your thoughts, Matt?
A mixed bag. Completely expected from my side of things, but massive miss from the tour. I just started to like him as well, and I think everyone's in that boat a bit.
See, I was going to say that, and I think if we go back to episode 1, we maybe heard your prediction that you wonder if he's going to Pipe.
Yeah, I did. I hate to say
Soothsayer.
Yeah. Speak the truth. No, I've just started to like him. Finally, everyone's on board with Mick Fannin, telling us that he's a good guy. And
I think Mick's his official public relations manager. Correct?
Sounds like it. And huge miss, but completely understandable, not unexpected, and also not huge news in terms of history. When you look at Carissa Moore, took a year off, but then there was no surfing that year, so you didn't actually notice it after she won her world title. Kelly done it, and so people do it. His goal was to reach 3 wins. He wanted to win 3 times. He's got there, and what were your initial?
What's the next step, really? Like 4 wins, he's going to equal Mark Richards, which anyone in this generation doesn't even know about or can't even remember about anymore. And so he's equaled Mick and Andy, correct? And Tom Curran as well.
Yeah, and for him it was to do with Ayrton Senna as well, because obviously Brazilian. He even said that.
Look, if I can't relate to these people anyway, because if it was me, of course I'd retire. He's got enough money. He's got 3 world titles. If he said he was retiring from surfing, then you could start throwing in a bit of hate, whatever. But he's not going to retire from surfing. He's just retiring from having to go surf for 30 minutes in front of everyone and be scored on, and having to be in certain places at certain times.
Absolutely. And like you say, with MR, you can't, unless you win 4 back-to-back, because MR won 4 back-to-back.
Yes, yeah.
So if you win 4, great, well done. Obviously, that's insane. But at the same time, unless you win 4 back-to-back, you've not leveled it, because winning 4 back-to-back is just stupid.
Yeah, so as his next step, it's obviously equal MR with 4, and then he's not going to get the Kelly, so it doesn't really matter. It's irrelevant. He's 28, I noticed today. I've done my homework for once. He's 28, which is 4 years older than Naomi Osaka, who I follow because, I don't know, I just really like the documentary on her. And she's kind of groovily into fashion. Tennis player we're talking about here. You know who she is.
I know who she is.
Yeah. She had mental issues like nearly every one of us. Come on. I don't know many people who are completely clean in that respect.
Look at Simone.
And I wouldn't even call it mental issues. Honestly, it's got to be 1, stress, or 2, depression.
Yeah.
Now, if we're going to go to depression, go to his girlfriend's Instagram, and not even a week ago they've got like their Sunday afternoon in the ghetto cement backyard barbecue where she's conveniently in a G-string having a shower every 5 minutes, and even with him.
He's not depressed.
He's looking really sad.
The poor guy.
And if he's burnt out, okay, so this isn't hating. This is just observations. What did he come out with a stupid surfboard range for?
Money.
Huh.
Yeah, but so I agree. I think I personally think it's been planned a while. Even before maybe if he didn't win his 3rd one, he would have carried on. Who knows? But he's not an out and out. He's not what I call an out and out surfer. I know that sounds weird for a 3-time world champ, but what I get the impression from Medina that he would never watch someone else's surf clip. He's not really interested in surfing. He just is very, very good at surfing and likes to actually do the activity.
He's nearly as cool as what we'd all like to be.
Yeah. And whereas you get other people, say for example, we spoke about Mason Ho. I can imagine Mason Ho watching every single surf edit that gets dropped from anybody and frothing out on them purely because he's more of a core surfer than Medina.
So Dan, you mean?
Yeah, exactly. Then comes across. So I don't think, and he's going to surf loads anyway. Look at him. I I think respect to him if he wants to take a year off. I'm going to make this a bit of a controversial podcast and throw some conspiracy theories out there.
Oh, good. I had a couple.
He's scared of John. If you're
That's
Medina,
different.
if you're Gabby, you've sat there all winter. He's put on a few pounds. Who doesn't over Christmas? And then he watches the Haliva event. John goes bananas. That 10 that John got in the final is probably the most perfectly surf wave in competition ever.
No, I don't think so. But still, it's just a recent one.
It's
just
mental.
a recent one.
Mental. And then
it's a good one.
And then the QS 1000, John just blows up at pipe. Then the Hui plus all the free surfing. You're thinking, oh no, I'm not going to go to Hawaii and bother because John's just gonna.
Yeah, I don't think he's one bit scared of John. Like, not even. I don't even think he'd sweat over that. But talking about that,
yeah,
it's if you say okay, it's been a hard couple of months, which is few months. It's written in the quote. That's 3: October, November, December. Because he won Trestles mid-September, late September.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's 3 months of not one competition to go to. Don't have to train really. He's got till pipe. It was going to be 4 months, wasn't it? You got 4 months. So I think that he's nutcase mixed bunch of families up in his grill.
Potentially.
Crazy father-in-law, mother. He emancipated them. Cut their allowance off because obviously at 50 or however old they are, they need their son to give them an allowance. Gave him one of his houses. Mother hates the wife. Wife might have a career as well that she wants to do and said, hey, you want to go do your thing? Go do your thing, but I'll do my thing somewhere else.
You can't say none of those are facts. We talk facts. Another fact is he's known to not want to get a vaccination.
He said he's just got it. He could be lying.
But
he said he got it.
If he's only got one and then he has to get it, he still might not have been allowed in Hawaii, who knows? And then he's got to get, because in Portugal you have to be fully vaccinated and that's not a million miles away. And with the way the vaccine. I don't think he's big onto the vax either. I don't think he's big onto doing this year's tour anyway. And there's no way he'd get into Australia without a vaccination because we all saw what happened with Novak.
So we're going to do a double call out here and say that we don't think he's got mental health issues that he's trying to get over.
No, I think he's tired and I think he is mentally probably drained. 100%. You got to remember, and it's hard to criticize someone who's surfing for a living, or not criticize. Sorry, it's hard to feel sorry for someone who's surfing for a living and the most perfect waves. But even look at I think Conor O'Leary and Jacko Baker and a couple of other boys. I can't remember their names. One of the poddies, I think it was Ain't That Swell or Stab went through it. Some of the boys, they've just gone straight to Hawaii. They haven't been home, wherever their home would be, especially Australians, for a long, long time.
Well, guess what? I did 4 years, Matt. I did 4 years with no money, 98 to 2002. Wife studying, me working 6 days a week. Had to go to the old phone box and put in coins to ring my mum. 4 years. It was super fun. It was their age, 25 to 29. Like, who cares if they haven't been home for 6 months, unless they're not with their partner. That's different. Not with their partner and not with your children is a little bit different.
And there's a lot of reasons why. There's a heap of reasons why he wouldn't do this year that, as I say, do not surprise me at all. It'd be just having a break.
It'd be a big stretch though to actually pick mental health as your excuse if it isn't, as opposed to in the past it was a taboo to talk about that. Mm-hmm. Or he's using reverse psychology on us now, where by being modern and getting more people sympathetic to him, he is using mental health excuse, knowing that it's actually quite cool to talk about your problems these days and very open. But I think I must have some stress.
I think so. I think that you look at last year as well, it wasn't just the WSL year, it was the Olympic year, and they had to jump through hoops from that. What a ridiculous state of affairs it was that you had to turn up to an ISA games.
I think we're overlooking the fact he's not on terms with his mum and his stepfather, who hate his wife. Do you know anyone in that situation?
No.
Find someone and say, how's life? I'm pretty sure they'll say, oh, it's a bit fucking complicated, actually, mate.
But yeah, maybe. But would that keep him off tour? Would that get him away from it? I mean, it's a legit reason.
Of course, it could keep him off tour if it's been going on for 3 months. He's got a younger sister, hasn't he? Younger sister who's a ripper. So at one stage, he's got to go and have contact with his younger sister, who's obviously living under the roof of his mum and dad. So then once a week, there could be issues there. Once a week, and then at the end of the day, you go, "Oh fuck it, I'm not going to go and do a world tour. I've already got all this shit going on. I've got 3 world titles, enough money to get me through till 80, and surf Mentawais every year."
Yeah. While you're on your sister, maybe the most.
I'm not on that.
Well, no, not on the subject of sister.
Since she's underage, man.
The most underrated, the most overrated young girl surfer in the world, 100%.
Okay, because I've never watched it, but I heard someone else say that.
Yeah, like I reckon probably not.
She's just a good surfer.
If I could surf every day for a month, I reckon I could be as good as her.
Wow.
And
Will,
I'll
do everything in my powers to try and make this happen, and I'll be filming you at the end of the month.
If I got to surf every day for a month, I'd be absolutely buzzing.
And if I was in Dirk Ziff's back here, I'd ask him if we could not do a map, Medina's little sister surf off at the wave pool.
Oh, could you imagine that?
Gabriel might not go.
He wouldn't turn up.
If he's not over the issues. So do you think he's going to be back this year? This is what we're talking about.
No. I think he's taken the whole year off.
Full year off.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he finally released maybe some free surfing edits later on in the year. I wouldn't be surprised if Stab tried to hook him up and get him on a last minute Stab in the Dark or Electric Acid or Joyride kind of thing.
Oh, he'd be good on electric acid, even though I don't think
he knows nothing about surfboards.
I don't think he's into that. But you'd say, like, honestly, there's zero chance that he's doing Sunset because he's not doing Pipes, the same place. You've got to think, if you're a betting man, he's not doing Sunset.
He's not going to Super Tubes.
He's not going to go to Super Tubes, even though he speaks Portuguese. You'd think there's a crack of it. What's the next? And then there's 2 in Australia.
Yeah.
You've got to say no chance. So then they just have to bypass the whole first 5 events and give him straight to the second half of the season, which is where does that start?
That starts at, I think it's the one that's just replaced Trestles.
G-Land.
Oh yeah, sorry, G-Land, and then
he could do that. He could do that because anyone can get into Indo with a bit of coin. So there's a good chance if he was going to do anything, he's going to be doing it by May, which is 4 months away, and plenty of time to get over whatever issues he's got.
Would they let him in?
Oh yeah, they'll let him in.
No,
the
WSL.
Yes, yeah, for sure. They got a world card. Of course, they'll let him in. He's 3 times world champion, and they should. And it would be G-Land. He's a goofy footer. Let him in, and he wins.
Okay, so let me play out a scenario for you. Okay, Ryan Callanan misses, say, Pipe and Sunset, right? And then Yago Dora misses the first 3 or 4 events, which seems kind of likely. Then so they don't re-qualify at the cutoff, but they say, right, we missed 2 events because of legitimate injury. How do they put those over Medina when he's voluntarily withdrawn? Even though
because it fights with his mum,
but you could see it as technically an injury, although it's a mental health issue rather than physical.
Mental health injury is an injury, and just as important, equal standing. But either way, they're just going to say, okay, anyone in the world, who would you rather see in the next event, Gabriel Medina or Yago Dora? Or Gabriel Medina or Ryan Cullen. And even all the ex-Medina haters who still might be are still going to say they want to see him in there. And look, he can go straight away, win G-Land, not go to El Salvador and say he's still a bit tired, do Rio, win it, and then go to J Bay. He might not do that. And then it's Chopu. He could basically re-qualify in 3 events. He potentially could make the finals in 3 events if he wins all 3 of them.
Yeah, my call is that he doesn't surf a single heat all year.
Okay, he's not going to do this year. Yeah, he could. Maybe why bother with all this bullshit?
Yeah, I think
wouldn't fucking bother.
I don't think
he's not looking for a girlfriend. He's not looking for a bank loan to get a mortgage. He doesn't need another world title next year. He can let John. How many's John got? Two. He can let him catch up. 3-3.
Maybe. It's funny how
that's part of the plan. Let John catch up.
Don't you think it's funny how everybody has been calling for, we want a super fit John against a super fit Medina for a year, and then they finally get a fit John again, and Medina pulls out.
Who's his rival then, John, this year? Is it Ferreira?
I said it in the last episode. I don't think he has rivals. His knee is his rival.
No one else is going to be able to match him.
There's people that can match. There's people that can
at the finals day, yes, but across the year, because we'll crown our own champ. That doesn't include finals day. And looking at the tour, it'd be good to watch him serve G-Land too, won't it? John.
Oh yeah, that's what I just hope it's a strong season of big waves, like good waves, because you can then get to see him just take it to another level.
I don't think they've ever had a agenda as good.
No.
El Salvador, J-Bay, Tahiti, G-Land, just in the back half of the event and kicking it off with Pipe and Sunset.
Yeah, and fingers crossed back to Bells, because obviously they didn't go to Bells last year.
Yeah, fingers crossed, Bells. It's as boring as it is good.
I love Bells.
Yeah, I like it too. But sometimes it's boring.
I liked it when Italo sat on the beach crying.
Okay. Well, it's a short, brief episode tonight, punters. We just had to discuss and dissect Gabriel's press release. I, as previously stated, would advise you to look at his girlfriend's Instagram and see how devastated he was in his backyard concrete barbecue, and I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, we're going to be contacting Mick Fanning, his PR, for a statement after this show.
He's a good bloke. Mick told me. He's a good bloke. He didn't tell me, he told the world.
We want Mick to clear up our theories, and whether it's because he's not fully vaccinated, whether he's scared of John, whether it's because his mum's grounded him, like Darren said, and he's not allowed out of his bedroom, maybe.
Maybe he's pissed off at the treatment of Djokovic.
Could be. It could all, or worst case, he might take up foiling.
He maybe already has. It's in the closet.
Maybe, yeah. Or he could be on that metaverse with Mark Zuckerberg and think, I don't need to travel because I could do it all from home with Kai Lenny. And
he will do what he wants to do. And after tonight, we will not mention his name again this season until when he drops a free surf clip or two, he's back on tour. Otherwise, it doesn't exist for us.
But his girlfriend still will. And
she will. I don't follow her. I follow that in my research.
Great research. Diving deep into the world of Medina for this episode alone, for the listeners alone.
Okay, but thank you very much for joining us in the emergency room.
Yeah, this will be the last WSL related poddy for at least a couple of weeks. So purists out there, stick with us. Something special is coming this week already. Episode 2 is not a pure WSL podcast, and then another one next week is going to be for real purists and mid-lengths. So stick with us. Remember to follow us on Instagram, the Insiders Podcast, with some underscores in it. Reach us out. We're stoked to hear your feedback already. Keep it coming, and we'll be back soon.
And stay tuned for the Insiders merchandise, which will hit the shelves in 2024.